Hello everyone. Welcome to the lecture series on computer architecture and organization. This is our lecture 3 under unit 4. In this lecture, we are going to see about cache memory. So the basics of cache. So cache was the name chosen to represent the level of the memory hierarchy between the processor and the main memory in the first commercial computer to have this extra level. The memories in the data path, which we discussed in Unit 3, are simply replaced by caches. So, cache, the term is also used to refer to any storage managed to take advantage of locality of access. So, caches first appeared in research computers in the early 1960s and in production computers later in that same decade. Every general purpose computer built today, from servers to low power embedded processors, includes caches. So this is the situations how we handle the cache miss. So this is the cache. We are requesting the processor requesting a word that is xn which is not initially in the cache. So the processor searches for whether the xn word is in the cache. So now, before the request, the cache is without the xn word. But after the request, what happens in the sense, the xn word is being fetched from the memory and it is placed in this cache. So this is the scenario, that is the cache before the request and after the request. Before the request, the word that is searched by the processor, that is xn, which is not in this first cache, and after the request, the xn is fetched from the memory. Because the block here xn is not in this cache, before the request at the time of request, the xn is not in the cache, and this is called as cache miss. So these are all the issues. How do we know if a data item is in the cache? If it is, how do we find it? If not, what do we do? So this solution depends on cache addressing scheme. If each word can go in exactly one place in the cache, then it is straightforward to find the word if it is in the cache. The simplest way to assign a location in the cache for each word in memory is to assign the cache location based on the address of the word in the memory. And this cache structure is called the direct map, since each memory location is mapped directly to exactly one location in the cache. So this is how we are going to map the address of the memory to the address of the cache. So this is how, that is, the flow goes for this direct mapping. The typical mapping between the addresses and cache locations for a direct map cache is usually simple. For example, almost all direct map caches use this mapping to find a block. If the number of entries in the cache is a power of 2, then modulo can be computed simply by using the lower order log 2 of cache size in blocks bits of the address. So thus, an 8 block cache uses the 3 lowest bits of the block address. So this says that we can directly calculate the address of the cache that is being mapped with the help of the address from the memory by taking just the lower order 3 bits of the memory address. Here, this is given by a formula, that is block address modulo number of blocks in the cache. So we can calculate like this, or indirect, we can just take the lower order log 2 of cache size in blocks. Say for example, if a cache size is 8, then the lower order 3 bits can be used to map in the cache memory with that mapping is that is directly mapped with respect to the memory address. So this is the mapping of the cache, that is a direct map cache. If you see here, this is the main memory. The main memory is of 32 numbers long. So the main memory can hold 32 number of datas. Since this hold 32 number of datas, we want to represent this 32 by 5 bits, because 2 power 5 is equal to 32, and these are all the memory addresses, not the data. And here too, these are also the memory addresses, not the data. So this is our main memory and this is our cache memory. So now we are going to map this. So how can we map in the sense with a formula that is block address modulo number of blocks in the cache, or simply we can take the lower order log 2 of cache size in blocks. So here if we say the cache size is 8, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are having 8 blocks and hence the size of the cache is 8. If you want to represent 8, then it can be represented by 2 power 3. Hence, the lower order 3 bits of the memory address, that is the address of the cache, and this address is mapped from the main memory. Say for example, if you see here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, that is that is the 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 location, and 0, 1, 0, 0, 1 location, and 1, 0, 0, 0, 1 location, and 1, 1, 0, 0, 1 location, all maps to 001 location, because if you see in this all the 3 bits, all the lower order 3 bits, that is if you, this is the address 00001, hence the lower order 3 bits are 001. If you see here, this is also 001. If you see here, this is also 001, and if you see here, this is also 001. So all the 4 locations will be mapped to 001, that is the address of the cache. And the next thing is that if you see here, if you see this one, that is the one that is expressed with this contrasting color. If you see, the lower order 3 bits for all the location is 101. Hence, all the 4 locations, that is the location with 00101 and 01101 and 10101 and 11101, all maps to 101 location. Hence, we can just take the log 2 of lower order bits in the memory address. Just that gives the mapping to the cache memory. So we can take, if you see about this previous line, we can take this block address modulo number of blocks in the cache as we can use this formula to map to the cache, or simply we can say the lower order log 2 of cache size blocks bits of the address, that is the main memory address. If we take this lower order log 2 of cache size and block bits of the address, then we can easily map the main memory to the cache memory. This is one a simple way. And these are all the important terms that is associated with this direct mapping. So these are all tag and valid. Because each cache location can contain the contents of a number of different memory locations, then how do we know whether the data in the cache corresponds to a requested word? That is, how do we know whether a requested word is in the cache or not? So we answer this question by adding a set of tags. So what is a tag? A tag is nothing but a field in a table used for a memory hierarchy that contains the address information required to identify whether the associated block in the hierarchy corresponds to a requested word. So these things will be discussed very earlier in a little bit time. So this is valid bit, whether an entry contains the valid address. If not said, then there cannot be a match for this block. So this is how we are accessing the cache. Okay, here we are having the 9 decimal address of reference. If you see here, the decimal address of reference is 22, 26, 22, 26, 16, 3, 16, 18 and 16. And here we are having this binary address of reference. So binary address of reference is 10110 for 22. Likewise, it goes for up to 16. Now, if you see this column, omit this for this time alone. Uh, if you see this time, how can we calculate this mapping of this binary address of reference that is in the main memory to the cache block? So just we want to take the lower order bits, okay, because this is a 5-bit memory and the cache size we are assuming as 8. So just we want to take only the lower order bit. So this location, this 22 location will be mapped to 110. and this 26th location will map to 010, and 22 location will map to 110, and 26 location will map to 010, and 16 location will map to 000, and 3 will be mapped to 011, and 16 will be mapped to 000, and 18 will be mapped to 010, and 16 will be mapped to 000. So now we are assuming that we are having some contents in the cache memory, and if the contents are present in the cache memory, then we say it is a hit. If it is not so, then we will call this as a miss. So we are going to discuss about this now. So keep it in mind that we are having the 9 decimal references, and we are having the binary address for these references, and we are just mapping with the help of this direct mapping. We are mapping this to this cache memory, and these are all the address of the caches. So if we see here, this is the initial state of the cache after the power on. So let us make an entry, or let us see how the miss and hit we are calculating, and how the tag bits are changing, and how the valid bits are changing, and how the data are changing. So this is the initial state of the cache once the power is on. So now we want to now we want to search the data, whether it is in the cache or not. If it is not, then what action we need to do? If it is there, then we need to assume this as a hit. Okay. So if you see in the previous slide, the first location is, that is decimal address of reference, that is 22. So what we want to do is that we need to map this 22 to the cache address 110, and the remaining 2 bits will be placed in the tag field. Okay. So the remaining upper 2 bits, that is the most significant 2 bits, are used to represent the tag field, and the least significant 3 bits are used to represent the cache address. So if you see here, if you search in this column, here it is first empty, so no data is there. So automatically the reference for this 22 address, decimal address, is a miss. So what we need to do is that we need to fetch it from the memory, and we need to place it in this cache. So how can we place this? This is the data, that is the memory of 10110 is the data that is being fetched from the memory, and the tag field is the most significant 2 bits, that is 10, and the least significant bit is least significant 3 bits is the cache address, that is 110. Hence the data is mapped, that is the memory address is mapped in this location. Okay. So now this miss has changed into a hit, because later if you access this location, then there will be some data. So then this miss will be changed into hit at that time. So now coming to the second one. Next, we want to search, that is for the memory, that is the decimal address 26, and we need to map this in the cache address, that is 010, with the tag field 11. So this is being mapped like this. This is mapped to 010, and the tag field is 11 to the base 2. Next, we want to search. Now we want to search whether the data in 10110, that is for the memory address, is being mapped in the cache or not. We want to check. So what we want to do, we want to map this 22, that is 110 to cache address, and 10 we need to place it in the tag field. So if you see here, this is already there is a data, that is 10110. This is for 22, that is 10110. So already there is a data. Hence this will be termed as a hit. Similarly, if you come for this 26, that is the decimal address of reference, that is 11010, then again the 010 cache address is mapped. Already it is mapped, and already it is holding a data. So 010 with the upper limit. If you see here, this is for 26. We have already placed the data. We have already placed the data. Hence, the fourth reference, that is the fourth address, is also a hit. Coming to the point of this 16, that is 10000, this is not being mapped yet. So this is termed as a miss. You see here, this we want to map this to 000 location. So here it is 000 location. The tag bit is 10, and the data is being fetched from the memory. And now this miss is changed into a hit now. And next we want to map this 16, we want to map this 18, that is 10010. Okay. So 010 should be mapped, 010 address of the cache is mapped for this address with the tag field 10. if you see here, the 0, 1, 0, we want to map the 0, 1, 0 location with the tag field 1, 0, but already there is a tag field 1, 1 and already there is one data. So what we must do is that we just want to replace it, that's all. Just we need to replace that location with a new hit, that's all. So it is being mapped as, it is being mapped to 0, 1, 0 with the tag field 1, 0, and the data for this 1, 0, 0, 1, 0 is being fetched from the memory. So this is the accessing of, this is about accessing the cache. So this is how we are calculating how the misses are happening and how the hits are happening. If there is a miss, then we need to fetch it from the memory and we need to place in the upper level of the memory hierarchy. Upper level of the memory hierarchy is nothing but a cache which is implemented with the technology of SRAM. And if there is a hit, then the processor will continue as if nothing happens. So this is the process how we are accessing the caches. So accessing the cache, this is divided into two fields. One is tag field and cache index. A referenced address is divided into a tag field, which is used to compare with the value of the tag field of the cache. A cache index, which is used to select the block. So the index of a cache block, together with the tag contents of that block, uniquely specifies the memory address of the word contained in the cache block. Because the index field is used as an address to reference the cache, and because an n-bit field has two n values, the total number of entries in a direct map cache must be a power of 2. So this is a scenario in which we are having the 32-bit addresses and we are following a direct map cache. The cache size is 2n blocks, so n bits are used for the index. The block size is 2m words, that is 2m plus 2 bytes. 2m words can also be written as 2m plus 2 bytes. So m bits are used for the word within the block and the 2 bits are used for the byte part of the address. So if you see here, if you want to calculate the size of the tag field, the total memory address, that is the total bits of the address, that is 32 minus of n. N is nothing but the n bits are used for the index. Okay. So if you take is the length of the cache is 8, then the n should be replaced with, that is the 3 plus m. So block size can hold m number of words. Here we have assumed that in the previous case we have assumed that the block size is 1. If a block, if the cache can hold 8 blocks and each block can hold m number of words, in the previous situation we have assumed that it has taken only one word. But there may be of m number of words, so m is the number of words that a block can hold in a cache plus 2, because 2 bits are used for the byte part of the address. So if you want to calculate the tag field, then we must subtract all these bits from the memory address. Okay, because the table has the data field, the tag field, valid field, as well as the index field. So we all need to, if you want to calculate this tag field, then we all need to minus this n bits are used for the index and m that is the m bits, m words for each block, and plus 2 bits which are used for byte part of the address. So how can we calculate the total number of bits in a direct map cache? So if you want to calculate the total number of bits, then the direct map cache size can be given by 2 power n. So 2 power n into block size is nothing but m, plus the tag size, which we have calculated using this formula, plus the valid field size. Valid field size, we are setting this as 1 bit. So in the previous case, if you see here, once the miss request is satisfied, that is the data is being brought from the memory, then a miss will change into a hit, and this no, that is the no field, that is the no valid bit field, will change into, this is s valid field. Okay, so s valid bit. So if you see here, once the data is being fetched from the memory, the valid bit is changed into s. Here also it is changed into s, but initially it will be of n. If you see here, if you compare these two tables, initially it is of n, but once the data is being fetched from the memory, it is changed into y. So this is how we are calculating the total number of bits in a direct map cache. Also, we can calculate the number of bits in a cache. Since the block size is 2 power m words, or in turn we can say 2 power m plus 5 bits, and we need 1 bit for the valid field, then the number of bits in such a cache is 2 power n into 2 power m into 32 plus 32 minus n minus m minus 2 plus 1. Nothing but this is a valid field, and this is of the size of the tag field. Okay, and now we are calculating the total number of bits, and this expression can be reordered and can be written like this. So this is an example in which we are having the 32-bit memory address and the size of the cache is 1024. So if the size of the cache is 1024, then we can represent this with 2 power 10. So that is 2 power 10. So the lower order 10 bits can be used to represent as the index field. Okay. So if we want to index that or we want to map the main memory to the cache memory, then we need to take the lower order 10 bits of the memory address so that it exactly maps to the cache memory. So here it is have done like this. The 0 and 1 bit are nothing but the byte offset in which we have discussed in the previous slide, and and apart from this byte offset, we are taking the least significant 10 bits in order to index the cache. So this is about the 20 bits that is mapped to that is the 20 bits that is mapped to the tag field. Why we want to take this as a 20? In the sense, the size of the tag can be calculated with this formula, that is 32 minus n plus m plus 2 words. And here in this case, we have assumed that it is the block is of one word size. So if you see here, this is 32 minus n. N is nothing but that is the n is nothing but the n bits are used for the index. So this is a 1024 block, sorry, the 1024 size. So since it is 1024 size, we can represent this as 2 power 10, and hence n is equal to 10. So n we are replacing with 10. And what is m? M is one word here. Hence we need to represent this with 2 power 0. So m is 0 here plus 2. That is the 2 bits are used for the byte part of the address. So now it comes to 10 plus 2, which is equal to 12. So 32 minus 12, which is equal to 20. And this is the size of the tag field here. So 20 bits are taken for the tag field and 10 bits are used to index the cache, and these are all the valid bits. Okay, if you want to talk about this valid bit, the valid bit can be on or off. So if the valid bit is on, then the data will be fetched from the cache. So what happens in the sense, see here, see the contrasting colors. The valid bits and the tag bits are fed into a comparator. Okay, so this tag field will be the tag field will be compared with this tag field will be compared with the that is the equality will be compared with this tag field. So if this matches, then it will be fed into an AND gate. So what this AND gate does is that AND gate ANDs one as well as this tag field component. So if it is 1, then the data will, then if it is 1, then it is a hit. If it is 0 here, that is the valid bit is 0 here, then the output will be 0, then this will be termed as a miss. So once miss happens, then the data will be fetched from the memory. So this is the graph which shows the miss rate versus block size. So what is this about? This graph interprets that the larger blocks exploit the spatial locality to lower miss rates. If you see here, the increasing block size usually decreases the miss rate. The miss rate may go up eventually if the block size becomes a significant fraction of the cache size, because the number of blocks that can be held in the cache will become very small and there will be a great deal of competition for those blocks. As a result, a block will be bumped out of the cache before many of its words are accessed. Stated alternatively, spatial locality among the words in a block decreases with a very large block. Consequently, the benefits in the miss rate become smaller. So this is how we handle a cache miss. So if there is a miss in the cache, then a request for data from the cache that cannot be filled because the data is not present in the cache. This is called as the cache miss. So what are all the steps to be taken on an instruction cache miss? So cache miss can occur on instruction as well as on the data. So if there is a cache miss occurs on instruction, then the first step is that we need to send the original program counter value to the memory. Instruct the main memory to perform a read and wait for the memory to complete its access. Write the cache entry, putting the data from memory in the data portion of the entry, writing the upper bits of the address from the arithmetic and logic unit into the tag field and turning the valid bit on. Restart the instruction execution at the first step, which will refetch the instruction, this time finding it in the cache. How can we handle this cache writes? So there are methods which are write through and write back. So what is write through? A scheme in which writes always update both the cache and the next lower level of the memory hierarchy, ensuring that data is always consistent between the two. Write buffer, a queue that holds the data while the data is waiting to be returned to memory. So write back, a scheme that handles the writes by updating values only to the block in the cache, then writing the modified block to the lower level of the hierarchy when the block is replaced. The usage of buffer relies on the drawback of this write through. What is the drawback of this write through is that these writes will take a very long time, likely at least 100 processor clock cycles, and could slow down the processor considerably. So in order to avoid this problem, the solution is to use this write buffer. So this write buffer, when a write to main memory completes, say for example, after writing the data into the cache, okay, and into the write buffer, the processor can continue execution. When a write to main memory completes, the entry in the write buffer is free. If the write buffer is full, when the processor reaches a write, the processor must stall until there is an empty position in the write buffer. Of course, if the rate at which the memory can complete writes is less than the rate at which the processor is generating writes, no amount of buffering can help because writes are being generated faster than the memory system can accept them. So the rate at which the writes are generated may also be less than the rate at which the memory can accept them, and yet stalls may still occur. This can happen when the write occurs in burst. To reduce the occurrence of such stalls, processor usually increase the depth of the write buffer beyond a simple entry. So the alternative to this write through scheme is the scheme we have seen as write back. Thank you.